Sir, good morning, sir. Sir, actually, we are waiting for Karthik, sir. So we'll be starting in few minutes, sir.
Hi, Bonta. No problem. I'll be waiting.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
I hope I spelled it right.
Sir, actually, my name is Yadidya.
Hi, Yaditya. Yeah.
Okay, sir. Nice to meet you, sir. So we'll start within 2 minutes. The other speaker is going to join.
Sure.
Good morning, sir. Hello, sir. Am I audible?
Yes.
Sir, good morning, sir. And sir, if you don't mind, can you switch on your cameras?
Hello.
Hello, sir. Sir, Atulya, but sir.
Yeah, just give me a minute. Give me a minute.
Okay, sir. So, sir, let us start the session. So, good morning to one and all present here. And we E-Summit welcomes you and all the participants attending live. I'm Yadidya, a co-team member of E-Summit. We welcome you all to the cryptocurrency conclave being held as a part of 8th edition of E-Summit IIT Bhubaneswar. Now, in this part, we all are going to discuss informative topics related to cryptocurrency. So, I'm really honored to introduce our speaker, Karthik Balasubramaniam. He is the former co-founder and chief business officer of Cripsy and worked as a principal consultant at KB Consults. He was also the director and COO of CCH ProSystem, director of Idea Search Solutions Private Limited, managing director and CEO of Vyuha Software Solutions Private Limited. He was also worked as a senior manager and senior programmer analyst at 3i Infotech. He has been a hands-on leader with a passionate contribution to practice setup, product development, business strategy, financial planning. He has been able to put together large delivery units and operation systems in a time-bound manner in multiple geographic and business contexts. We are really honored, sir. Thank you for joining us. So, it's my pleasure to introduce our next speaker, Atulya Bhatt. He is a co-founder and CMO of a company, BuyUCoin, and also a blockchain solution consultant at Property. He is a former member of a Blockchain Foundation of India and a member of Internet and Mobile Association of India. He also served as a business analyst in Consulidon and a market research analyst in Verify.wiki and self-employed as blockchain assist analyst, portfolio manager, and freelancer. Moreover, he is also skilled as a music producer and amateur percussionist. At the age of 20, he founded iBlock Technologies Private Limited. We are so honored for joining us, sir. So, sir, without getting late, let us get into the discussion. So we all know that cryptocurrency is a tradable digital asset or digital form of money built on blockchain technology that exists only in online. Now, I request our speakers to speak and give us a brief idea about cryptocurrency in detail.
Sure. Who do you want to start?
So, yeah, anyone can
Go ahead, Atulya. Go ahead.
All right.
Nice meeting you.
Nice
Thanks for that invitation and introduction, Bonita.
Nice.
Thank you, sir.
All right. So we are sitting here and we are talking about cryptocurrency, and it's the lightning bolt of this century, and this time everybody's talking about it, and even we are listening the government talking about it recently in the Lok Sabha, and everybody's talking about it, and there's a lot of mixed opinions. Some people say it's illegal. Some people say it will make you rich by tomorrow. Some people say that you should invest in long term. So there's a lot of confusion. There's a lot of dialects that are going around. So we would like to maybe try to address some of those things, and maybe let you know about what's happening in the space. So basically, cryptocurrency or crypto asset, as I would like to call it, it's a new form of a asset class. That's what we like to believe at BuyUCoin, and it allows you in a way to invest in something that's going to revolutionize any industry that we talk about right now. Any industry that is existing right now, it has application for the blockchain technology that drives crypto assets, and any other technologies like NFTs, metaverse, or DeFi, decentralized finance. Anything that we hear from the cryptocurrency space is basically built on blockchain, and blockchain is something that has existed since the early days of the internet, and has been applied in a basic form. It has existed before, but in recently in 2009, Satoshi Nakamoto introduced this Bitcoin white paper, which introduced the use of blockchain technology in terms of a new cryptocurrency, an online cryptocurrency that doesn't exist on paper, but does exist on a digital ledger that can be verified and be used and be transacted and be verified by billions and billions of users all across the globe. And that's about it. That's basically what drives Bitcoin. So we are here in this in India. We will see a lot of we have seen a lot of blockchain and crypto startups building up, and a lot of them have received funding. Some of them are even from IITs and the top class these educational institutes in India. And we have seen a lot of these startups gain a lot of traction within the Indian community, and even at BuyUCoin we have more than 1 million users who are using BuyUCoin to basically buy, sell, store, send, and receive crypto assets like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and the likes. So basically, what drives crypto asset is this belief that that we don't need a centralized authority to tell us that what value of of an asset that we hold. It's basically a barter system that is built on the trust that the whole peer-to-peer community holds within the ecosystem of cryptocurrency, and that's what we build this whole ecosystem on. and some of those applications like non-fungible tokens, NFTs, have gained a lot of traction, not just within this small niche of cryptocurrency investor, but beyond. We have seen a lot of Bollywood stars are opening up to crypto assets, and IPL is going on. A lot of the IPL teams have created their own NFT assets, and basically what NFT is, to be precise and to be succinct, I would tell you that NFTs are basically uh, if you create a JPG like this one right here, this could be a JPG, JPEG on your computer. When you put it as your own ownership on, let somebody called X created this art and called it let's say let's someone called X called it Y, and they put it on blockchain, and with that they have the ownership of this art or this whatever digital form of asset they have. They have this ownership of this art, and and they can put it out on the market and they can sell it. And this is the first time this is happening without any risk of plagiarism or any risk of duplicity or anything like that. You have complete ownership of your digital creation, and that's how it goes for NFT. And besides that, there's metaverse. Facebook's working on it. They're putting billions of dollars to create that ecosystem within their universe. They even renamed their company and called it Meta, and now it's called Meta Facebook. So they are working on creating these Facebook is a digital ecosystem, and they know the value that these assets like NFTs hold for their users. So they are now opening up to these channels that will allow users to create their own NFTs and put it up on maybe Instagram and sell it on Instagram. So things like that are happening, and it's very vibrant space. And we really hope, like people like you who are from the top institutes in India, and you guys have the talent, and you guys have the network that could really lead to the mainstream adoption of these assets in India. So that's the way I see it. Yeah, Karthik, over to you.
Thank you, sir. Now I request Karthik, sir, to speak up about cryptocurrency.
That was a good opening set of highlights that Atulya brought out. So I think he's covered it pretty broadly. Thank you for that, and I hope the students get an idea of what it is. Like he said, it's once in a generational opportunity that has just emerged, and it's something that will be very different from where we are today. So that also I'll tell you, right? So today we are at the peak of the hype cycle. The speculative elements are at the highest, but that always happens in any technology in the early days, right? I'll give you an example. How many of you here have heard of a company called WebWan? Have you heard of a company called WebWan? WEBWAN.
I've heard about it.
Atulya is smiling, so obviously he knows. Yeah, so very few people know about it, but they were the ones that they were ahead of Amazon in the Amazon game, right? And they burnt a lot of money and they executed very well, but they're gone, right? But that always happens in the early stages of a life cycle of a use of a technology. There will be things that come up, grow very well, shine, and then also vanish, right? So we are at the stage, we are not even reached the peak of the hype cycle. The potential is immense, and I think, like Atulya said, cryptocurrency is one piece. That's the enabling element in the blockchain. With that comes multiple technologies that have also matured. As we speak, on the planet, there are 1:6 or 1:7 IoTs as we speak for every human. So for every human, there are 6 to 7 devices that already exist. As we speak, artificial intelligence has come of age. You don't know whether you're talking to a real voice or you're talking to a robo. When you're chatting online, half the time you could actually be chatting with a bot We are already at that stage. I'm not making any of this up. Next, if you go to a quality VR experience, you wouldn't know where the VR ends and where the reality is, right? So I think we are at the cusp of all of these technologies coming together, and in any real life incident or any real life action, the core is economic activity, and at the core lies how economic activity is represented, translated, exchanged, and transacted. And that will always be with the capability of a decentralized cryptocurrency. Uh, what is still remains to be seen is how does the regulation react to it, how do governments react to it, and how does society react to it. I'm saying this independently because we could see a situation in 10 years where society adopts in a very big way to cryptocurrency, but regulation is still playing catch up. They're either banning it and putting limitations on it, but already everybody is transacting on it. That's quite a possibility because the cat, as they say, is out of the bag. You can't put the cat back in. You can't say Bitcoin didn't exist or cryptocurrency can't exist. You can't say that because they can only restrict on ramp, off ramp. You can put restrictions where it's possible, but you can't say the Bitcoin node can't exist, right? So, in that sense, very exciting possibilities. It's important that as students, so how many people are on this? Give us some context on who we are with on this call, so that we get a better understanding what classes or what seniority they have and the number as well. Before that, I'll just conclude by saying let's make this interactive because this is a very diverse and complicated space. And the complexity is only because there's so much of content out there, there's so many different definitions for each thing that it can be a maze for somebody learning. So use the best of this opportunity to make this interactive and ask the dumbest of questions. Here we are to make sure that we inspire some thought and get some ideas emerging out of this, and probably even seed some thoughts for a good startup coming from here. Yeah, that would be my opening remarks.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for you. And sir, we live stream is going on, and more than 100 members are watching. So we have few questions from the participants. The
Sure.
first question is that we have seen that various institutes are allowing transactions via cryptocurrency. Do you think institutional adoption is increasing, and what are its benefits for startup companies?
So
I'll let the exchange bro to respond.
yeah, so we have a lot of institutional investors on our platform. A lot of corporates are working with us on crypto assets trading. Basically, there's a lot of use cases that exist within the crypto space. We have liberalized remittance scheme, LRS as we call it, that allows a lot of users to because a lot of these companies that exist in India, they are working for basically clients that are actually from abroad. So when you get a project, maybe let's say Microsoft gives you Microsoft based in USA, or Facebook based in USA gives you a project to work in India, and you're working for an agency that is getting you the client. So a lot of these clients prefer to send these individuals or these agencies in terms of crypto assets, because it's basically easier and costs very 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 less. When you compare to, let's say, PayPal, it costs you 8% of the whole transaction is gone in just on the fees that exists with PayPal. So a lot of these these companies prefer to pay these freelancer and agency in terms of Bitcoin. And besides that, there are a lot of financial investors who are basically putting let's say 5% of let's say they have $100 million in their asset under their management, and from that maybe $5 million or $1 million they want to just put in a high risk category, which basically is cryptocurrency. It's a very high risky asset that should always be noted. You should never put all your money into cryptocurrency in hoping that एकदम फटके एकदम डबल हो जाएगा. ये ऐसा ये thinking बहुत खराब है, and this exists. I'm joking about it, but it's true, and a lot of people have made money, but also a lot of people have made huge losses because they didn't understand, they didn't research, and किसी ने बोला कि put your money on this asset and it will skyrocket and something like that, and sometimes that happens, but mostly that doesn't happen. So basically, coming back to the question, institutional investors are adopting it, and they are putting it in a high risk category into their portfolio, and they are investing into cryptocurrencies. So my dog is there. He's also called Crypto. I've named Crypto. Get up.
That's interesting. So anyway, I'll just add to that. So I think the question was specifically on if you're transacting in crypto. So that again is subject to the regulation of the country that the business or startup exists in. So in India, you cannot use it as legal tender. What does that mean? It means that you cannot write an agreement and express consideration. Consideration means what is being exchanged. So आप घर बेच रहे हो, so that price cannot be expressed in cryptocurrency. So legally, it cannot be a medium of exchange, and it's not legal tender. So you can't say that I will sell my house for 3 Bitcoin. That's illegal in India today, as confirmed on the floor of Parliament. This was almost 2-3 years back. They confirmed that this cannot be legal tender. Having said that, there are innovative or visionary companies, I should say. Like if you take Tesla, Tesla allows people to buy and spend BTC to come and buy a car, right? So that's possible today. Now, if the questioner was asking about that, yes, of course it's possible. But then, like Atulya said, keeping it in crypto form is a high risk thing for the business. So if Tesla sells 10 cars today, each car being 1 Bitcoin, let's just take it as an example. So they collect 10 Bitcoin in the morning. They sell 10 cars, they collect 10 Bitcoin in the morning. Let's say Bitcoin crashes 10% in 24 hours. Now, they lost the price of one complete car. It's gone. It's that loss is real because they already accepted the Bitcoin. Cars are gone from the garage, and now they are left with 10 Bitcoins, which are now worth 10% lesser than what it was yesterday. That does not happen if I had designated the price in dollars. In dollars, if I had priced the car, I would have got $10. The price of the 10 cars, and then the dollar remains valid. Remains stable. However, this is not something new to humanity. Humanity has always dealt with forex loss, right? So if I send a bill from India as a software provider or as a seller of a service, I designate my price in dollars. So I say that, please give me $5,000 for this service that I have provided. At the end of that, when the person pays, he only just goes to his bank account, puts $5,000 and sends it back. When I created the invoice, price of dollar could have been 72 rupees. When I received, it could have been 70 rupees, it could have been 75 rupees. My CFO and me has to think smartly as to price this correctly so that I manage that forex loss, 2 to 3 rupees. But 2 to 3 rupees for 5,000 is nothing. The Bitcoin swings as high as 10% a day. So we are not at a point where it's a good transaction choice. Even if it is used as a transaction choice, I'm sure Tesla uses a lot of treasury operations to make sure that they manage that risk. It's called hedging. So you manage that risk by hedging. Okay. So all that is complicated financial processes, but it's possible to manage. What are the opportunities for startups? I would say that there is the user experience is the problem. Today, it's so complicated for an average man, right? For an average man on the street to use crypto. If a startup can solve that, that's a huge opportunity, right? So if you can focus on even making those payments possible out of Bitcoin, but make it as seamless and safe. Why is it complicated today? It's not safe to do any other way because your private keys may be compromised. You may lose all your content and so on and so forth. When you read more about this technology, you will understand all the points I'm making. But the person who will win in a startup here will be the person with the coolest user experience. Because the biggest barrier to change is your grandmother, is your grandfather, is not a good adopter of Bitcoin today. And that's a fact. Try telling her to take Bitcoin or buy even a Bitcoin. She will give up at different stages depending on how well they know the mobile. And that's the tragedy, right? So because it's not just, I'm not being demeaning of the elderly, I'm just using that as an analogy. It could be your maid, it could be your Uber driver. When they get comfortable, it will be a larger and larger market. So those are some of the opportunities for startups here. Sure. Go ahead with the next question, I think.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. I hope it's clear. And now, moving on to the next question. When the price of fiat currency declines, the price of cryptocurrency increases to go up with respect to that currency. How volatile is it really?
Okay, so like I already said, yeah, Atulya, go ahead. If you want to.
I was saying, Karthik, you should answer this question. Yeah.
So the volatility today is driven by factors that are extraneous, right? So if you look at Forex, Forex is also volatile. And let's take before crypto, what was the most volatile thing you heard of? I'm sure you heard of stock markets, right? Stock markets have pricing that keeps changing wildly within the day. But what is the facts that drive that change? The facts that drive stock market change are typically news. The company announces something and then the company stock price is affected. The government announces something about that industry. They say that tax is going to go up for automobiles. Then news, changes the price of the stock. Tax is reduced, price goes up. Tax is increased, price comes down, and so on and so forth. Right. So what drives pricing in a stock market is news and facts and market sentiment. Market sentiment could be during Diwali, things go up, right? Things like that, right? Now, let's see what happens in crypto. If you thought that was complicated, crypto is absolutely unpredictable. There's no way to have a controlled news environment because it's so young, so complicated, and so diverse. There are multiple countries all over the world that transact in crypto, multiple languages, and there are complexities on all of that. So messaging and news is very difficult to read and determine, but that's a big contributor to crypto volatility. Liquidity is a big contributor to volatility. Regulation, obviously, good news, bad news from the governments anywhere in the world automatically gives rise to volatility. But because of the nature of this asset class, it's very, very difficult to actually put a barometer on how to read this volatility. It's very, very high risk, right? So like Atulya already said, this is an asset that you have to carefully invest in, and you cannot really do technical analysis or just based on fundamentals and based on facts, make a decision and wait on it. There is a lot of volatility, so don't expect this to stabilize soon. This can stabilize and this will stabilize, but it's over time. As currencies get mainstream adoption, some of them will stabilize before others. Like if you look at even within the 2000 odd currencies that exist today, the big ones are relatively less. They don't crash 100%, but the newer coins sometimes crash 100% in a day, right? It's not unusual to see that. So in the same way, in 5 years potentially, there will be 5 currencies that are fairly stable over days and weeks, right? So we'll get to that. Does that answer
We
the question?
also have stable coins to address this problem.
That'll confuse them, but yeah, you should mention that. So by the way, a digital representation of currencies have also been created called stable coins, which are fairly stable in the sense they are almost 1-to-1 to a currency. And maybe just to add to that definition of what a stable coin is, today when I transfer a dollar, it's dollar moving from a bank account to another bank account. It's not smart. It's not fungible. It's not traceable. It's not a unit of currency that's traceable somewhere in the system. A stable coin is an alternative where a fiat currency, a traditional fiat currency, has its own equivalent, which is traceable, which is transparent and digital. So you can program it in a smart contract and so on. So that was the idea of stable coins. And that's a good point. So if you want to use crypto early in the startup stage, please use stable coins, right? So your volatility is linked to the volatility of that country. If USD tanks in 1 week, that risk is there. But at least you will always be close to USD, right? Thanks for that, Atul.
Thank you, sir. That was really informational. So, Atulya, sir, do you want to add anything to this?
Basically, I would just add that even the Indian government and the regulator of the currency here, RBI, is the central bank of the country, Reserve Bank of India, is working on a sort of a stable coin, but it doesn't come in the exact definition of the stable coin because these stable coins are decentralized. But however, the government of India is working on a central bank backed digital currency. We maybe we will see it very soon. This a digital version of rupees. We have seen apps like Paytm who have their own wallet, and these it sort of acts like a digital version of the money. But an actual legal tender by the government is probably expected very soon, and we might see a digital version of rupees which is backed on the blockchain technology coming very soon, as we are talking.
Again, those of you taking notes and researching this, there are two parallel topics Atul brought up. Research this in detail. One is stable coins that I described broadly. The second is what he referred to for India, which most likely is not a CBDC. I mean, it's not a stable coin, but it's a CBDC. A CBDC is a term again coined by the Bank of England, which is the regulator RBI equivalent in United Kingdom. They coined this term way back in 2016. So CBDC stands for Central Bank Digital Currency. So those of you taking notes and want to research this later, research CBDC, research stable coins. Right?
Thank you, sir. So, moving on to the next question. What are the difficulties faced by digital currency startups due to COVID-19? What preventive measures a startup can take as the waves keep on hitting?
So probably I will take this question first. Karthik.
Sure.
So yeah, so we were there, when the COVID hit India and across the globe, and basically what happens is we have there are two things. The first is related to the user base and to the customers, and the second is the internal, what happens internally. So first I will go to the user base. Actually, we are not very proud of it, but what COVID did is increase the interest in cryptocurrencies in India. Basically, people were sitting at home, they were reading a lot of things on YouTube, on Google, on articles and content. Everything was getting widely proliferated, and people were reading a lot of stuff, and that really helped the cause of cryptocurrency startups in India and help them go beyond the what they were doing, and a lot of expansion happened. We were able to expand our user base two to three times the whole cryptocurrency startup space, and a lot of startups were created during this time, during COVID. People basically sitting at home, they didn't know what opportunities existed before, because they were already caught up in this whole environment. But during COVID, they were sitting at home, they were reading a lot of stuff. So many of them started their own startups, and a lot of Indian startups raised fundings during exactly that COVID time. That happened at a very fast pace, and a lot of investments came into this space, not just from retail investors, also from institutional investors, venture capitalists, angel investors. Everybody was interested in crypto because that was the talk of the town during that time, and it still is. And taking to the second point, what happened internally, that's where in the starting, it was really for a company that has existed in a working environment where people were sitting with each other and talking and discussing things, and that when COVID happened, everybody had to go to their home. I had to go to my home. Everybody was sitting at their home, so it was a little bit daunting at first, but with time, everybody got up to it, and you guys were sitting at home studying, and having those classes at home. So basically, it was a change of pace. It was a change of the whole culture. But as humans have already always did, we adapted to it, and we performed really really well during that time. And so it was that. It was basically, I'm not proud of it, but it was very positive for the crypto industry.
Absolutely. So I think I'll actually add it with a little bit of pride. I'll adding to it in the sense that it's human response, like he said, right? Humans respond quickly. The negative fallout from the health was big, no doubt, and I'm respectful of all of that. I have lost near and dear as well. But the larger narrative is it forced the world upon digital transformation. I'm not even saying it's good or bad, right? But they realize that things can be done in the digital world without the need for physical travel, physical participation in meetings, and so on, right? So that opens up a whole new realm of possibilities, right? Billions of dollars worth of individual transactions have been achieved in the 2 year period where hardly any travel happened, right? I'm talking. I'm sure you can look up deals like Reliance. Reliance did a very large deal with Aramco, multi-billion-dollar, no flights to come, right? And it happened right through pandemic. Now this was unbelievable. If somebody told me 10 years back, people will sign off on billions of dollars worth of investment without seeing each other. Even though Aramco is a brand, Reliance is a brand, they are well respected. Their authorized signatories are going to sign in each other's, on behalf of each other. It was unheard of if you thought that it was possible to do without physical meetings. But now we can almost take it for granted that digital is here to stay. Digital is here to stay. Digital payments are here to stay. And I think all of you have personal life examples in the last 2 years where you've seen things that were not digitally paid being digitally paid henceforth. And once humans get used to something, they're not going to go back. Right? Now you're not going to go to the ATM and get cash. The good opportunity, like Atulya said, it got a lot of interest into crypto because of the buzz, because of the news, because of YouTube channels, and so on and so forth. That crowd is here to stay, right? They're not going to go. Those users are real. It's now for the startups to use this as an opportunity and create ideas that will make sense for that engaging public and engage them further and use them in your advantage. Use them to your advantage.
Thank you, sir. So moving on to the next question. The government takes no clear side on the legality of cryptocurrency. What are the advantages, disadvantages, and hurdles the startup will face if the government of India passes a law on it?
Okay, I'm sure Atulya is closer to this than me. I don't watch it that closely, though
Yes.
I've been looking at it broadly. I'll give my initial business comments, and then he can be more specific and tactical. So, if I were trying to build something in the cryptocurrency space today, I would steer clear of trying to do something which uses it as a legal tender or uses it as a mechanism of storage of value and so on and so forth. So, get legal advice, get inputs from people that understand crypto and crypto law and the emerging policy. Everything's changing rapidly, right? So make sure you get the right legal advice. It's just not random legal advice. Second, make sure that what you are is focused on specific innovation. So don't take a big brush and paint. Take a very fine small brush and take a corner of the canvas and define a market opportunity that works for you. That will never be at risk. So that will be less at risk than trying to say, you know what, I'll replace Paytm. It's a good goal. But if you try to do that with crypto today, I would say it's foolish because none of the answers are there. The legal answers are not there. The regulatory clarity is not there. So that's foolish. But if I'm trying to do something very, very tactical and targeted, that would still be very successful. Second, the pandemic and crypto has opened up the world. So don't limit yourself to India. Whatever you start up, think of the globe from the day one. In fact, think of countries that are crypto friendly for your offering as the, for taking your offering as the first target. So don't even target India if you want. So once regulatory clarity comes back, you can come to India. So don't close yourself, do research, and look at the world as your oyster, right? So that's what I would do. Now, Atulya, I'll give you all the bad news.
Yes, yeah. Great points raised by Karthik. Just adding to that, so I'll give the bad news later on. So
Okay, good.
so first things first, there's a huge opportunity that exists in the blockchain space. There's two aspects to this industry. There's crypto, there's blockchain, and a lot of startups that as Karthik already mentioned, that there's a huge scope for any entrepreneurs who are entering into the space to go global, because once you build a scalable solution for any industry, you can take it forward to any country that is crypto friendly, or that has those markets that are available to enter and to disrupt right now. So that's there, and getting to the bad news, we have more than 30 employees at BuyUCoin who have left the country just to have better opportunities, because they didn't like what what the government was saying about the startups that exist in the space, and they found better opportunities outside of India. There's a crazy brain drain happening even right now. A lot of these entrepreneurs and these very great talents are moving out from India just to have that space of peace of mind to work in a space that is actually very good, but also in a space where you don't have to worry about tomorrow it will all be shut down by the regulators or anything like that. So that dilemma does exist, but coming back to the point, you always have that those people who are working simultaneously with you, and you can develop anything that you want in the space that is actually targeting the right audience. And basically you can build anything. You can take it outside of India. Maybe if you are building something on the blockchain that doesn't have the financial aspects to it, you can create it in even India, and you can pitch it up across companies. Maybe you could build a system that would allow Swiggy to track their whole supply chain within within a blockchain ledger. That could happen. Anything like that could happen. But when it comes to things like crypto, we if you guys have researched before, if you guys have heard about crypto, maybe you've heard about a crypto called Matic, Polygon. It's now called Polygon. These guys were based in India. Now they are multi billionaires. All of those founders, they moved out of India very early on, when there was a exodus of talent going on, and these guys moved out of India, and a lot of these startups they built their basic grassroots solutions in India, and when they have had their that sort of product market fit, and if they understood that they are standing on the right grounds, they just moved out of India, because that was the right thing to do. That is the right thing to do when you're creating something in crypto, because a lot of these regulatory hurdles pose some unwanted barriers when you are creating something great, and that shouldn't be the way. And even when right now, if we talk about it, the government has introduced a 30% tax on any profit that you make in crypto, and that is without maybe I will get too technical into it. I'll just tell you a simple thing. You buy 100 rupees worth Bitcoin, you buy 100 rupees worth of let's say Litecoin. You make a profit you make a profit of 10 rupees on Bitcoin, and you made a loss of 10 rupees on, let's say, Litecoin. Your net loss is your net profit is 0 rupees, but still you will have to pay 3 rupees of tax to the government, because they are not allowing any loss to be covered in the space. And basically what you have to do is give money back from your hands to them. So this is what's happening right now in the country, and that shouldn't be the case. But that's, and we are expecting things to get better, but that's the way that things go in India, and that's why we always see brain drain. And most of you, top grads from IITs will move out of India, and that can't be helped.
Okay, I have to add on to that. So I'm a big votary of what India can do and will do. Okay, there are very strong reasons, practical, social, historical, that make it very difficult to for the country to just embrace crypto. Okay, and it's very difficult, right? It's we have to understand our prime minister and our vision and our work for the last few years have been heavily digital. And even if you keep that aside, our progress as a market for digital, as a consumers of digital, has been phenomenal, right? So the world comes to learn from India. Nobody has UPI. We have UPI, right? So we have remarkable progress that we have done in digital. Unfortunately, there are social, historical, and largely around tax, right? Legacy tax and how there is a huge parallel economy that exists in India that makes it difficult for India to just embrace crypto, right? And of course, we have to show a lot more leadership from a policy standpoint. I don't disagree with Atul. So I don't want I don't want you to think that India is not going to be a market. India is going to be a slow market. It's going to be a tougher market to crack, and that's where I go back to what I said. From India, rule the world, right? There is a lot of respect for Indian talent, for Indian startups. Use that to your advantage and create your innovation out of here and target the rest of the world, right? So I don't want to support brain drain. Maybe keep your assets outside if you're worried about tax, right? There are tax planners that will help you navigate this. But from a talent standpoint, stay true to your motherland, stay patriotic, and create value for India by selling your services to the whole of the world. That would be my 2 cents. By the way, our protocol is largely India based. Please look up my own internet. Moi.technology is is the protocol. We built that. Largely all the engineering has happened in India, but we are targeting the whole world, right? And we believe in practical usage. We want to be compliant with all the laws. We want to be compliant with crypto regulation even in India, right? So in the same spirit, I encourage you to think of solutions. Our human brain is ingenious, right? So we can think of solving all problems. So don't leave India.
Definitely, sir.
I'm staying in right now. I'm in Delhi, and we are one of the only crypto startups that is registered and is operating within the country, and we believe this whole that we are very patriotic to the country, and we believe that. But that that's one thing, and the reality that's happening out there is something. These great assets that are being created, and these guys do the basic groundwork in India, and then when they see that when you work in India, you face a lot of troubles. They move outside. But I'm not saying that's the that's the best thing to do, or that's something you should do. But these entrepreneurs face these problems, and they found a solution that when you do this probably from outside of India, then it's basically easier for them to do less easier for them to focus on the business rather than the regulatory hurdles that are there. And basically whenever the country gets crypto friendly in a true sense, then they will be moving back to India. And I'm in touch with most of these founders, and they have their families over here, and they want to come back to their mothers and fathers and stay with them. But that's something we really hope that will go on in the future.
Definitely, sir. Thank you, sir. So, moving on to the next question. How can startups overcome technological limitations like cryptocurrency private keys can be permanently lost from local storage due to malware, data loss, or the destruction of the physical media?
Karthik, would you like to answer it?
Sure, thank you. So, yeah, I have exactly the answers that you're looking for. So please check out moi.technology. So we have attempted to do exactly what the problems of current crypto are, which is storage and management of private keys using a ZKP method, where we basically use zero knowledge proofs and allow the users to manage their private key and control their private key through a smart contract. The keys are never transmitted. The keys never go from your device to the server, but only the proofs go from your devices to the server. So it's a very new attempt. So we call this a self-sovereign identification mechanism, right? And by that we mean it's not like, I don't know how many of you know about MetaMask, right? So you use MetaMask to change your IDs, but then that's very high risk. And if your device crashes, you lose it all, right? You have to restore it through a very complicated mechanism, which I, as I earlier referred to, UX is a problem. So we are trying to move to a solution which is self-sovereign and in the control of the user, and also not controlled by the intermediary. So MOI cannot control it. So that's an attempt. And as I said, there's so many attempts in the user experience space for crypto, it's unbelievable, right? If you can make it easier for people to adopt, great. NFTs. Tell somebody in your family to buy an NFT, not yourselves. It's going to take them so much of struggle. And I invite you to come and try moiverse.io, right? Just go to Moiverse and you'll see, using your UPI, you can actually participate in the crypto experience, buy, possess an NFT, create a piece of art that can also be an NFT, and earn on it, all in UPI. Legally valid, built for India, right? So that's what I meant by saying it's easy to say regulation is tough and we are in a hostile regulatory environment. The tougher challenge as a startup is to think what we can do, because the market is so attractive. It's 1.5 billion people with the youngest demographic, with great digital infrastructure, mobiles, 5G, and electronic money. So don't discount that and check out these products to give you more ideas. So those would be my 2 pence. 2 satoshis, not 2 pence. Go ahead.
Definitely, sir. We'll go through it. Thank you, sir. And we have the next question, the last question. What impact does cryptocurrency have on the environment, considering the fact that mining for proof of work cryptocurrencies requires enormous amounts of electricity?
So I'll just add my 2 satoshis into it, yeah, as Karthik called it. So basically, there's when we consider the environment impact of crypto assets, mining onto the climate, we have to consider a lot of things. It's not just like when you mine some assets, a lot of energy is being used. When you think of how the whole ecosystem works around the currencies, the fiat currencies that exist, it is a very energy intensive process to actually use those currencies in where you have to cut down the trees. You have to you have to go to places to maybe give somebody cash. You have to use the internet. You have to use these apps that are burning a lot of energies to when we talk about Paytm, a lot of energy is being used to basically run that app. So it's a very complicated thing to talk about. It's not a one way aspect. It is a very layered sort of thing. You have to think of it in long term. You have to think of it in every aspect that that arises with cryptocurrency. The best explanation that I have for this is it's a totally digital medium. When we are using crypto assets, the only energy that is being used is to actually mine those crypto assets. Besides that, there's a lot of efficiency that is being driven out of this ecosystem that could really it's sort of an advantage over the whole fiat currency energy system that is existing right now. So that's basically what my research says, and what I have seen in this space. It's a very efficient process when you compare it to any other sort of medium of exchange, and that really gives it that sort of value. You can't just consider that when you are mining, a lot of energy is being used, because that's a very one track sort of thing to think about, and that arises a lot of questions also. And even Tesla, they call them environment friendly, and they are using electricity, not these petrol or diesel to drive the efficiency. They also started using bitcoins, and then they dropped it because they thought that it's a very environment unfriendly process. But when they did a lot of research, and when they came out with it, there's a lot of efficiency that exists within the ecosystem. But right now it could be at an early, because it's at an early stage, it could be not that efficient. But as it would go on, we will move to a proof of work model that exists right now. Probably we'll be moving to a hybrid, or maybe a complete proof of stake model that would really make the process much more efficient. And that's the way I think about it. Karthik, what do you?
Yeah. Quick response. I think he was right. So there is a trade-off, right? There are certain advantages and disadvantages whenever new things come. I strongly believe and support what Atulya said, which is basically that the trade-off of greater, environmental cost is justified compared to the benefits that it brings, right? And like he said, even the traditional finance and traditional settlements use a lot of power. It's just not measured and not comparable, right? So the benefits of doing this in a decentralized manner are greener, are environmentally sustainable in the long run. That's the first point. Second, two more coins from my side. So apart from Bitcoin, there's multiple innovation. You should look this up, right? There are multiple coins that are trying to bring down the load on the environment and the load on mining. Techniques like proof of stake, which I don't support in a big way because that's very capitalistic. At Moy, we are innovating with something called proof of context. It's a patent pending technology where we use context, AI plus context to determine consensus, right? So decentralized consensus is the challenge. There are multiple ways of getting to that answer. There is already innovation to bring down the environmental cost in such answers, in such consensus algorithms, and we are one of that. So we will crack it again in the coming days, I'm sure. As humanity, I'm saying, we'll crack it where we will win this over as well.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for joining us and giving us a lot of information and clearing our queries related to cryptocurrency. And I hope everyone enjoyed the session. And this is the end of the session, sir. Thank you for joining us, sir, and giving us your valuable time.
Thank you,
So
guys.
yeah, thank you very much. Anybody reaching out, drop me a line on Telegram. I am at Karthik Bala. The handle is Karthik Bala, KARTHIK BALA. Feel free to keep the conversation going. I think only by more and more information, more and more clarity will we get the next generation to create more and more innovation in this space. And I'm a big pusher for making that happen and making that happen out of India, right? So all the very best to all of you in your academic journey, and make sure you make the right decisions and keep blockchain, crypto, and technology in your plans.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Karthik. Thank you.
Nice meeting you, Atulya.
Same here.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Thanks, Vanita.